The Portrait of Arnolfini, also known as The Marriage of Arnolfini. This fascinating work by Jan van Eyck has been famous for many years, with many question marks. Especially the identity of the couple depicted is a matter of great curiosity. Although it was previously accepted that this couple was Nicola Arnolfini and his wife Shana Senami, recent findings refute this. And the question of what kind of event this painting tells us, as much as the identity of the couple occupies the minds. So, is this really a marriage portrait? If so, what do the other images in the painting mean? Let's look for answers to all our questions. We are in Bruges, the famous 15th century trading city. This city is a rich place where many different nationalities come together and carry out various commercial activities. Merchants come here and sell their goods to the whole world. That's why the Arnolfini family came to the Bruges from Italy. The family is quite wealthy and focuses especially on fabric trade. We can easily understand this when we look at our painting. The fabrics of the clothes worn by the characters and the preferred colors are very expensive beyond the imaginary meaning they carry. It's obvious that we are dealing with wealthy people. It is not surprising that these colors were chosen in accordance with the understanding of the period, because at the time it was very customary to display one's wealth through his wife at important events, such as weddings. The richer you are, the more elegant your wife dresses. According to some sources, 1/3 of the dowry was spent just to decorate the bride. But there is a point of interest here. Although the couple wore expensive dresses and rare colors, they wore very little jewelry. Except for a ring on the groom and a necklace on the bride, there is no jewelry that stands out. Although the easiest way to show wealth is to wear expensive and abundant jewelry, our couple did not prefer this kind of ostentation. Who knows, maybe they want to give the message that, yes, we are rich, but we want to express this in a more elite way, not with extravagance, but in imaginative ways. Again, some other objects in the room can be considered quite luxurious for the period. For example, let's look at the orange in front of the window. As used in many other works, oranges are a very expensive fruit. Moreover, if you look out the window, we see a cherry tree in blossom. So it's early summer and it's not the season for oranges, but the couple can still afford to buy this expensive fruit that is not yet in season. Another expensive object that attracts attention is the couple's arm cuffs. The gold and silver embroideries must have been quite expensive. The conclusion we draw from all this is that the couple was quite wealthy, and they wanted to reflect this in a modest way. At this point, I would like to open a parenthesis to the painter and the painting in general. Thanks to the Jan van Eyck's attention to detail and his mastery of painting, this work is still valued as a masterpiece today. Our painting, which is one of the first examples of the oil painting technique, the first oil painting made according to the Vasari, still preserves its vitality despite its 600 years adventure. It is especially amazing that the vivid colors in the painting are still as they were on the first day, because many famous works, such as the Mona Lisa, have very different color tones compared to the time they were made. Look at Mrs. Arnolfini's clothes. Don't they look so vivid? Van Eyck has used the light very well in his work and managed to reflect it in his painting. Look at the light reflections in the brass chandelier. It's marvelous. Again, the painting is full of the fine workmanship, from the dog's hair in the foreground to the paintings on the edge of the mirror in the background. As a matter of fact, each of these paintings is only half the size of a fingernail. Van Eyck really works very finely. The first known interpretations of the painting belong to Erwin Panofsky. Panofsky argues that the painting depicts a marriage ceremony. The painter reflected in the mirror and another person next to him witnessed this marriage. At the time, it was common to have a wedding at home, and the church did not object to it. Panofsky also argues that the painting is an official marriage document and cites the painter's signature at the top of the mirror as evidence for his opinion. From this perspective, many things in the painting make sense. Look, for example, at the way Mr. Arnolfini raises his right hand. It is as if he is taking an oath, a marriage vow. He also takes the bride's hand with his other hand and includes the bride in his vow. The convex mirror shows the couple and the wedding witnesses, and around it is depicted the persecution of Christ. The single candle burning in the brass chandelier represents that God is there and blesses this marriage. The rosary and the broom hanging in the background are used as symbols of loyalty and hard work. The dog in the foreground is used as a symbol of the couple's loyalty and is very carefully painted. If you look carefully at the painting, you will see the slippers of the man and the woman. Of course, this was not painted randomly and probably refers to the biblical verse, Exodus 3:5. It was quite common at the time to use religious motifs and images in paintings, and if we accept that this was a wedding ceremony, it would be quite consistent to interpret the painting from a religious point of view. However, there is one point in our picture that does not fit well with the religious perspective, and that is the way Mrs. Arnolfini is holding her belly. Our bride has her hand on her belly as if she's pregnant. So they had a child before they were married and they had it painted. Who would want such a wedding portrait? Who are this bride and groom? And why did they have a marriage portrait made? Because for that period it was quite unusual. Let's go in search of truth together. First, let's take a look at the historical journey of the painting. We first come across our work in the inventory of Margaret of Austria's collection in Mechelen, dated 1516. The inventory says the following: a large painting of Arnolfini in a room with his wife, given to Madame by Don Diego. On the cover it says painted by Johannes the Painter, and has the coat of arms of Don Diego. Another inventory of the same collection from 1524 has similar wording. The Don Diego mentioned here is a Spanish nobleman born and raised in the Low Countries. The painting later passed to Margaret's niece, Mary. In the 1558 inventory of Mary's collection, our painting is depicted in a similar way. After the death of the Mary of Hungary, the painting passed to the King of Spain. Coelvis, a traveler from Leipzig who went to visit the Spanish royal collection in 1599, describes the painting he saw. A young man and woman joining hands as if they were making a promise to marry. It is also written, among the other things, in the following couplet by the Roman poet Ovid. In the inventory issued for the collection of King Charles II of Spain around 1700, the painting and the couplet are mentioned in the same way. Our painting is set in England during the Spanish War of Independence. In 1842, the National Gallery bought the painting from a Scottish soldier named James Hay. This person had fought in the Spanish War of Independence, but it is not known how he acquired the painting. In 1857, it was realized that the painting was the work described in the Margaret's inventory, and its name was translated into the original Italian, Arnolfini. At this point, the question comes to mind: which Arnolfini is in the painting? For a long time, it was accepted that the person in the painting was Giovanni di Oreggi Arnolfini, the most prominent name of this important Lucchesi family living in Bruges. In this case, his wife Joanna Senami should be next to him. But historical research has proven this assumption wrong, because Oreggi was married in 1447, that is 13 years after the painting was painted and 6 years after the painter's death. So the person in the painting must be Niccolao, another Arnolfini who lived at the same time as Van Eyck. According to the records, Niccolao married Costanza Trenta, the daughter of another prominent Lucchese family, in 1426. The exact date is January 26, 1426. Costanza was 13 years old. Note that the marriage took place in winter, as I will explain later. As a result of our historical research, we clarified that the people in the painting are Niccolao and Costanza. This is what the art community thought for a long time, until a letter written by Costanza's mother in 1433 was discovered. In this letter, Mother Bartolomea says her daughter is dead. So, who is in the painting? Now that we know the identity of the people in the painting and that Costanza died a year before the painting was finished, we can conclude that this is a posthumous portrait. A painting painted or commissioned by her loved ones to perpetuate the memory of the deceased. Niccolao's hand is raised as if to tell us about this and his eternal loyalty to his dead wife. With the other hand, he is holding onto her memorial. But does this painting depict our couple's wedding ceremony? I don't think so. Let's look at it together. In the art of the period, brides were depicted with long and sketched hair to refer to Mary. This hairstyle symbolizes virginity and purity. Let's look at the Rajavandar Vaidan's Seven Sacraments altarpiece. On the right, the bride's hair is long and flowing. On the left, another woman is depicted at baptism with her hair in a bun, just like Costanza. Costanza's hair is in a bun, but she is wearing a white lace veil, just like the bride's. From this, we can conclude that she is not a bride, but married. The inconsistency in the size of the window, the chandelier, the mirror, and even the figures, the lack of a fireplace in the room, and the painter's keen attention to detail all add up to the conclusion that there is no such room, but that it was imagined by the painter. Looking at the painting, we realize that the couple is dressed for a special occasion. But there is a contradiction. Through the window, you can see a cherry tree in blossom. So it's late spring or early summer, but the Arnolfinis are dressed very warmly. I think there's an important clue here. I have already told you to pay attention to the date of the marriage. In my opinion, this contrast is evidence that the painting is not dedicated to a current wedding, but to memory of a past marriage. I think the colors of the clothes also have a symbolic meaning. Niccolao is wearing a black and purple velvet dress. It is as if he is in a deep mourning. Today, black and purple are considered to the colors of splendor and nobility, but in the years when the painting was made, they had not yet acquired this meaning. Costanza, on the other hand, is dressed in green and blue, symbolizing love. Specifically, green symbolizes being loved, and blue symbolizes loyalty. The way Costanza holds her dress makes us think that she is pregnant, but this may not be true. First of all, the couple has no known children, and moreover, the way she holds her dress is a fashion at that time. Let's look at the dress and triptych. In this work, St. Catherine is holding the front of her dress just like Costanza. Although this style of dress does not indicate that she was pregnant, it may symbolize that she could bear a child and that this is a woman's duty. From this point on, we will focus on the images that make us think that the painting is a posthumous portrait. Let's start with chandelier. On Niccolao's side, there is a candle still burning, whereas the candle on the Costanza's sides has melted away. The light of life and the extension of death. A little further down, we see the convex mirror. Around the mirror, 10 small pictures depict the Passion of Christ. On Costanza's side, there are parts related to the death of Jesus, while on Nicolao's side there are parts related to the life of Jesus. Again, the same theme, life and death. Of the two people seen in the mirror at the back, the one in red is probably our painter. But who is next to him? Could this person be you or me, the viewer looking at the painting right now? I think yes, this is us. Our painter has painted us as witnesses of this moment. Contrary to popular belief, the dog at the bottom may have a meaning other than loyalty. The tomb of Margaret of Austria and the tomb of the Henneberg couple will help us with this. In both tombs, there is a dog at the feet of the woman. These dogs are companions. They accompany the deceased woman on their eternal journey. And just as we see in our examples, the dog is depicted as a companion on the side of Costanza in our painting. There is also another remarkable feature of our dog. He does not appear in mirrors. Yes, if you look carefully, you will see that there is no dog in the mirror. Do you think the painter forgot to draw the reflection of the dog in the mirror? I don't think so, but I leave the interpretation to you. Contrary to popular belief, the room depicted in our painting is not a bedroom, but a reception room. Visitors are received in this room. So, what is a bed hanging from the ceiling doing in such a room? When we examine period paintings, we come across such beds during visits after the birth or death. The rug next to bed carries an imaginary meaning. According to a source written at the time of the painting, it was customary for high-ranking nobles to cover the floor with a carpet when they gave birth. Lower-ranking nobles, on the other hand, were content with just a rug, just like in our painting. The bed is surrounded by interesting figures. Above is an unusual carved figure of Saint Margaret. Normally, Saint Margaret is portrayed as emerging from the belly of a dragon alive and triumphant, but here she looks quite different. She is sad and praying. It is as if the patron saint of the pregnant woman is praying for the deceased Costanza. Another figure that looks different from the norm is the lion figure just above the couple's head. It looks quite different and disturbing compared to the one below. When we look at its position, it seems to threaten the couple's union. The X-ray examination of our painting gives us very interesting information. According to this, the dog, chandelier, and Saint Margaret are absent in the first version of the painting. Also, our convex mirror has undergone quite a change. The mirror, which was originally painted with 8 slots and larger, was later reduced in size and 2 more slots were added. This made room for the artist's signature. The most striking change is Nicolao. From his feet to expression on his face, from the angle of his right hand to the grip of his left hand, everything has changed. In the first version of the painting, he holds his wife's hand and has an attitude as if welcoming the guests who come to visit. But then everything has changed. His right hand and feet turn towards his wife, and I think the most important change in this picture was made, the joined hands of our couple. In the first version of the painting, Nicolao is holding his wife's hand tightly, while in the final version of the wife's hand seems to be slipping away from her husband's hand. Yes, at this point, if we put all our knowledge and interpretations together, the conclusion is clear. Costanza dies in childbirth. Van Eyck makes significant changes to his work in progress after this tragic situation, and while looking at the grieving husband and his deceased wife with us, he calls out to his audience 600 years behind. Remember that you are mortal. Remember that you are only a human being. Look behind you. You are just a human being. Remember.